everyone, it's Max, and today I am here with some New Year's resolutions and kind of what I am wanting to do with my reading in 2022. I am filming this when it is already 16 days into January, but I think that was actually a good idea because now I'm able to see kind of where I'm at, how I'm doing, like what my reading flow has been like, and I can go from there. And all I'm gonna say is the choice that I was deciding to make at the end of last year was a good one, and that is I am going to read and really make sure to read for quality, not quantity. Last year, I found myself in a lot of ruts of not enjoying a lot of the books that I was reading. Now, I'd go into a book and not even really expect to like it. I read it because of the hype, or because someone else liked it, or just, I don't know, random reasons, and I didn't enjoy it. And I wasn't surprised because I honestly went in not thinking I was going to enjoy it. And I know. And then also another problem I'm having is combating my growing unenjoyment of YA. I don't want to not enjoy YA. You know, I've loved YA for many, many years. I've read YA for many years. But as I get older, I find the tropes to be a lot more exhausting, a lot more just so overused, and I'm just not enjoying it. And the writing, I've read some really good YA novels, but I feel like because it's YA, the writing is more acceptable to not be that good. And so I just sometimes get these books that I'm like, this writing is really weak. And I just don't find that as often in adult books because they are held to a different level and a different standard, which, like, I get it, YA is for younger readers, but they are not stupid. We are not stupid. We can read good writing. Like, we'll understand it. We'll comprehend it just fine. But it's just so much more leniency is given, and I find I'm not enjoying it. And also, I guess a problem that I have with YA is even with tropes that, like, you know, there's plots that are so similar, and I wouldn't have such an issue with it if they didn't go about solving it the same exact way. And I mean, the hidden princess after rebels like took over her country, they all go about it the same exact way to get their country back. And it's always they're not willing to go that extra step of like, yeah, it's a little depraved, but in the end, you know, they're like my big problem is like their villain has committed like mass genocide and killed a bunch of people, but they're like, I can't kill anyone, that's bad. And it's like just to kill the bad guy, and I'm like, yeah, it's bad, but like that's war for you, like that, like you might have to get what you want. They didn't have a problem with it, and I know you're not supposed to stoop to your villain's level, but there's a little bit of stooping that needs to be done because they are going about like basically obtaining the same goal as their opponent. And I'm just having such a hard time with how watered down YA can be, where again, like they all fit that same mold. They all go about the plot the same exact way and nothing is surprising. Any plot twist, I'm like, oh yeah, you can find that in 5 other books. Like I thought that this was just gonna happen. I didn't realize this was supposed to be a plot twist. This happens all the time. Like, of course you were gonna do this. This is what every author who writes a book like this does. And I'm just a little exhausted. I also need to stop reading books solely because of hype. It's just like, I don't know, I feel like today, like these days, I don't know, I feel like not very good books are becoming really, really popular, and that's not great. And I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of talent that is getting published a lot, where it's like just so many authors are getting published that I don't know if they really should be getting published. And I just found a lot of last year, I just read some really, really mediocre books. I had a hard time compiling both my favorite books of the year, my least favorite books of the year, because so many of the books that I read last year were so middle of the road that I was just like, I neither loved them nor did I hate them. They were so average. And I don't like that. I want to feel something about a book. I want to love a book or sadly hate a book, but like give me emotions towards a book. So this year I am going to try really, really hard to really be picky about the books that I pick up. Now, I own a fair amount of books, so that's gonna not count them because I own them. I want to get through them. And there are a few YA novels on my own TBR. Not many, not that many, but there are still a few, including tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm gonna try and do my very last Fairy Loot reading vlog, but it's gonna try to be 24 hours. And I'm gonna try and bang out the last 4 Fairy Loots that I've got. And that'll decrease the YA on my shelf by a fair amount. And now I'm not counting authors that I love. Margaret Rogerson's newest book, Vespertine, I'm gonna pick it up. Little Thieves by Margaret Owens, I'm gonna pick it up. What's another one that I was thinking of recently? You know, if like books are coming out by authors that I know, that I enjoy, that is a different story because I feel like I'm going to enjoy them because I've read that author before. Now, it might not happen. I might still be let down, but like I've got more confidence in authors that I have enjoyed in the past. But just, you know, jumping into a YA just because it's hyped, I'm going to stop doing that. Because I just don't think it's been working for me at all recently. And so I'm really gonna just focus on reading books in genres that I know I'm going to love, and that is adult fantasy and sci-fi. Sci-fi can be hit or miss for me, but I am really trying to find more sci-fi that I enjoy. Historical, time travel, like stuff where I'm like, you know I'm going to enjoy it. And I know no one goes into a book hoping to dislike it, but I feel like, you know, people can, if it's hyped up, people will pick up books that they really are like, I'm probably not gonna like this, but because it's hyped, they want to read it. And I think BookTube does have a peer pressure thing where everyone talks about the same books all at once and then forget about the books and no one brings them up again. And it's just like, I feel like a lot of times booktubers feel like they can't branch out and not read the hyped books because people, like everyone's talking about the hyped books. And I get that, but I just had such a bad reading year. Really, looking back at 2021, nothing sticks out to me as something that blew my mind except Empire of the Vampire. That one really, I loved it. And I think that was really kind of the only one. But that's the same with like my worst book of the year. Flamefall. Yeah, Flamefall was the only book that I hated. And so it was just like, it was just this weird dichotomy of there just wasn't any books that I really loved or really hated. And then thinking back on 2020, while it was a terrible year, the books that I read, I loved some books, and then I really detested some books. And that's fun, because when you look back at the year, you're like, I had a good reading year, because you read books that really stuck out to you. 2021, I keep having to reference my Goodreads like challenge to be like, what did I even read this year? Like what, like, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's right, I read that book this year, and like, I don't know, there's just nothing that was like great reading wise in 2021. And that kind of made me, especially in December, I stopped doing BookTube stuff for a month because I just kind of was like, I kind of just lost passion for a lot of it. And I was also planning my Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So I was spending time doing that, and I was reading that book. That was the campaign manual. But I also just like, I don't know, and I haven't watched like anyone's favorite books of the year, least favorite books of the year, like videos, which I usually love, but I just wasn't interested because nothing about 2021 or my reading year excited me. So I don't think I just like really cared about other people's reading years. I don't know, but there was something about that just felt that way. So main goal is to choose quality over quantity and really try to just pick up books I think I'm going to love. Now looking back on 2021, I did try to do that with Joe Abercrombie and Mercedes Lackey, and both of them failed. Mercedes Lackey, I didn't really care about any of the books I read by her. I think I read 9 books before finally giving up, and I don't regret it at all. I just like, there was nothing there that I regret. I didn't really like any of the books. The Arrows of the Queen series, the Queen Herald series, whatever. The Arrows of the Queen series was good, but that was, out of all 9 books, that was the only trilogy that I even enjoyed. Joe Abercrombie was a bummer. Like, the First Law trilogy was good, but the last book, like, I get that's grim dark, so like no one's gonna like have like a happy ending, but I wanted like endings that the characters deserved, and that didn't even happen. So it just felt so unsatisfactory. Then I did enjoy Best Served Cold. It was on my top books of the year, but every other book was not good. I DNF'd the last trilogy. I couldn't do it. December was a really bad reading month for me, and so I just thought, you know what? I'm done. I don't like Joe Abercrombie. I know I'm not gonna like it, and I just gave up. October Day and Sean and Maguire, I am still trekking through. I'm currently reading the 13th book, and honestly, again, it is starting to get worse. It's like they are just like repeating the same plot lines where I'm like, Sean and Maguire, you can do better than this. And like 13 books in, I thought some villains from the first book would be defeated by now, and that's still not even the case. And it's just like, it's getting really long and kind of just like, okay, like we're just rehashing old issues again and again and again. And that's just what I feel like with YA these days, is rehashing the same plot over and over and over again and bringing nothing new to the table. In 2021, I also did a really good job at finishing more series than I started. So catching up or continuing and finishing more series than I started and didn't finish. I did a few secret reading vlogs. I believe I did 4 or 5, and they went well. I didn't like, there's most of like, the first 2 I had a really good time with, and I enjoyed the majority of them. The second 2 or 3, I can't even remember what series I read, were a bit not as great. And again, I think that's because of the quality. I chose Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Didn't really like the trilogy. I chose Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which, because I love Strange the Dreamer, I had hoped. I enjoyed the first one a lot. The other 2, not so much. And it's just like, I need to really, it's a good idea. I like starting and finishing a series all in one, you know, like banging that out and being done with the series and just like done. I like that a lot, but just being more careful about the series that I decide to read. I've got a few that I've got plans for that I'm very excited for, but on the whole, like, and it's gonna be adult for the most part. It's gonna be adult series because that's what I wanna read. And it's also like, finishing an adult series like in one vlog, I think has a very different feel than finishing a young adult series, because young adult is a lot easier to fly through than adult. But I am in the middle of a romance one, which I'm really excited about, and will be coming out actually around the perfect time. That's all I'll say. But that's kind of, you know, that's where I'm at. Sorry, this video does not have a whole lot of structure, kind of going with this theme of like, just going with the flow, being relaxed about how many books I read. It's kind of how this video is going. So 2021 was like good in the way that I read more series, like caught up on more series than like series that I started and didn't finish, which is always good. That's always kind of like what I want to do, to kind of knock out TBR stuff and being like, I actually finished it. Another thing that I really want to do is get more into standalones. I don't read a lot of standalones, but I know there are some great ones out there. So I do have a few that I own right now that I am excited about getting to. And it's just like, you know, I just gotta like make that push to like think like, no, standalones can be good. They're hard. Fantasy standalones can be very hard to get the whole plot in and world building and characters and everything, but it can be done. And so I am really excited about the ones I've got on my TBR this year. So for authors I want to read this year, I'm not going, besides October Day, I am not going to be doing, I read a book by an author every month. I think that I got a little bogged down in that because last year at one point I was trying to do like 3 at once with Mercedes Lackey, Joe Abercrombie, and Shauna Maguire, and it was too much. Especially because Mercedes Lackey, I wasn't enjoying it, and Joe Abercrombie, I wasn't enjoying it. And so I'm not going to do it anymore. After October Day, I'm done with that. I'm done trying to do that for the time being. It's nice in some cases, especially with big series like October Day, or authors that have a lot of works like Joe Abercrombie and Mercedes Lackey, trying to have that goal. But honestly, with how I kind of want to structure my reading this year, that's not gonna happen. And you know what, that's okay. I don't want it to happen. I'm like done with that whole idea. I started out because I wanted to read like all of Brandon Sanderson's books. And so I read one of his a month, and it worked out to like finish in 2 years. It was like beautiful. And rereading all of Cassandra Clare's books worked out really well. And then I just like kept doing it. And I don't know why I kept doing it, but I just did. And I'm going to stop. I was gonna do it with the Wheel of Time series and listen and try the audiobooks, but I am not going to. I'm not going to. I might try the audiobook here and there, but I'm not gonna try and do 1 a month, especially with how long they are, and I'm not in the audiobook mood. I've started the Magnus Archives podcast, and those little snippets, it's like that's the perfect amount of time. I'm just like not, listening is not, I don't know, like I'm, okay, right? At work and like in a lot of downtime, I watch a lot of Critical Role these days. And so if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm thinking I could be watching Critical Role right now. And it's just like, that is something that I'm really enjoying. And that's okay. I don't need to listen to audiobooks all the time. And that's totally fine. I need to relax on like expectations for myself. Of kind of, I've gotten stuck in the, oh, I'm the reader friend. I need to be reading something at all times in all formats. Book, audiobook, I don't know, having an ebook on the side, having a graphic novel every once in a while, but I really don't. I don't need to do that. I can read at my own pace, at my own tempo, and how I want to read, and that's okay. I'm going to keep doing secret reading vlogs this year. I'm really excited about it. I also have another plan that I'm a little excited about, and that is, I'm finally talking about it, I think. At some point this year, I am going to take, so if you've been on my channel for a little bit and watched my unboxings for Fairy Loots or my Fairy Loot reading weeks, you will know that I've been really disappointed with Fairy Loot in 2021. I feel like it was really lackluster, really boring items, not very good books. And so what I want to do is take, so December 2020's book through November 2021's, and once I've read them all, which after Monday, I should, and I think that vlog will be up by the time this video goes up, unless I fail at that vlog and then I just incorporate it into the regular week. But I'm going to choose a different book that came out each month, December through November, and read that and decide if like being like, should Fairy Loot have chosen the one that I read instead of the one that they chose. We'll see how that goes. I think it might be fun. But of course, that's also pushing myself to read more YA fantasy. But you know, if I really am selective about it, I think I can be okay. In a couple months, I think like Vespertine and Little Thieves, like, and Gilded by Marissa Meyer maybe, you know, like those will be fun and easy and not a problem. But yeah, so those are kind of some of my plans. This is really all over the place. I'm sorry. It's mostly just a lot of focusing on genres that I know I love, to kind of like, you know, just at the end of 2021, I was kind of like, what am I doing? Like, what am I reading? Why am I reading? Because the books that I ended up reading in December, I didn't enjoy the majority of them. It was my least favorite October Day book. Gilded, I didn't really like. Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson sucked. And like, I was just like, what am I doing? If my favorite authors aren't even doing it for me, like, why am I reading? And so I took a break. I did. I took a big break and I'm like, I'm ready, I'm situated, I am ready to read again. I'm ready to focus on genres and series that I really, really think I could love and go that route. I really want to, and I really want to try that, and I'm really excited to see what happens. But I guess that's it. Sorry, this was like all over the place. I kind of just want to sit down and talk about some goals, reflect on what happened in 2021, and kind of set the scene and set the stage of what should be expected this year. But I hope you all enjoyed, and let me know down below some of your 2022 reading resolutions, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye.